I've climbed the mountains in Montana, danced in the lights of New Orleans. Portland ran away with me.
Hello and welcome back to another video. I hope that you are all doing very well. If you are new here, then hi, my name is Brittany and I'm a nurse practitioner. I am also the creator of the Brittany Holzbeck NP Review. It is the most comprehensive, affordable, and it is accredited nurse practitioner boards review on the market. My course and all of my other resources are available at www.thenewNP.com. As always, I'll make sure to have it linked in the description box below if you want to go and check it out. Also, if you missed it, super exciting, I just launched my first guidebook. So it is the new NP Guidebook. It is 145 pages. Currently, it is only available as a digital download. I am in the process of trying to figure out a company that I can print through. And I know a lot of you really want a tangible copy, but I'm trying to find a company that can print it in like large quantities for a reasonable price. I printed one for myself to kind of get like a prototype to see what I do and don't like about it so far. I love it. I am going to go a little bit more durable with like the cover and stuff. I did realize that, but like the inside of the pages, it's beautiful. My focus for this guidebook was to make it very comprehensive. I wanted it to be a solid resource for you that you can use in practice. If you need to look up something, it will give you a very comprehensive breakdown of how to diagnose and treat the most common diagnoses that you're going to see in practice. Like if you've seen my outlines and PowerPoints and stuff before, I usually have those kind of brief and then I elaborate, of course, with my lectures. With this, because there's no lecture involved, obviously, it's very, very comprehensive. I'll put up on the screen instead of trying to show it to you guys, like the index where you can see all of the different things that are included in the book. I'm pretty proud of it. I worked months and months and months on this, like hundreds of hours went into this. So I was excited to get a printed copy myself and have it as a resource just to have on hand. And yeah, like I said, working on getting printed versions available for you as well to purchase. So stay tuned, that will be in the future. But right now it is still available as a digital download. For a limited time, it's available for $75. You get access to the entire thing. Obviously you can print it if you would like, and you can go through a printing company. I used Canva to print mine. It was a little expensive, but I mean, they did a nice job. But yeah, like it's not feasible to do mass quantities in that way. They don't give like a discount. And so that's what I'm looking for right now. But if you want to buy the digital download, of course, you can print it yourself and then you'd have it as a tangible copy. Anyways, I'll also have that linked in the description box below, so you can go ahead and check it out. It's also on my website and available on my Patreon, all of my other social media platforms. But yeah, I'm super proud and I'm really excited to share it with you guys. But I'm excited because today is another video where I go over 3 diagnoses that you need to know for your nurse practitioner boards exam. This last video I did regarding this, it seems like people really enjoyed it. I try to keep it brief and succinct and just focus on these like clinical pearls, hot topics that you need to know for boards. It's definitely not comprehensive. We're not going to do a deep dive into any of these topics. So specifically for today's video, it's more about treatments for specific diagnoses that you need to know, and I'm going to go over 3 that are so important. But before I get into it, if you like this type of video, make sure that you like the video and subscribe to the channel. It's a free way to help me out and it lets me know to continue pumping out content like this one. But all right, let's just get into today's video. All right, so the first one is going to be hypothyroidism and how we treat hypothyroidism. So we treat that with synthetic T4, also known as levothyroxine. So in patients that are younger, generally healthy, and without cardiac disease, we can actually start them typically at the full intended dose. And the calculation for that is going to be 1.6 micrograms times kilogram per day. And so that's how you would figure out their dose. And you can like use an app. I typically use like Hippocrates just to look at dosages available. And you can see all the different formulations available. So there's like a 100 microgram tab. There's a 112 microgram tab. And you would just choose the correct dosage for that patient based on the calculation based on their weight. Now that is for the general population. Again, younger, healthy, without cardiac disease. And then you would just reevaluate their TSH in 4 to 6 weeks and adjust accordingly. Now, the caveat to this is patients that are 60 or older, or if they have cardiac disease. So for these patients, we want to start them at a lower dose of their levothyroxine. If their duration of hypothyroidism is 2 months or less, then the guidelines recommend starting them at 1.3 micrograms per kilogram per day. If the duration of hypothyroidism is unknown, or if we know it to be longer than 2 months, then the guidelines say to start at 25 to 50 micrograms a day. And same thing with these patients though, you're going to then recheck their TSH at 4 to 6 weeks and adjust accordingly. And that's kind of a big point that you just need to understand with treating hypothyroidism is who we can start at the full intended dose and which patients are going to be at an increased risk and who need to start the levothyroxine lower and slower. All right, and then next up, let's talk about asthma exacerbations and how those are properly managed. So first and foremost, any patient that has asthma needs to have immediate access to a rescue inhaler, whether that be a short-acting beta agonist such as an albuterol inhaler or a fast-acting beta agonist combined with inhaled corticosteroid. So in that example, a lot of times we'll see the formoterol with budesonide. So for the albuterol inhaler, if the patient is at home and experiencing an exacerbation of their asthma symptoms, then they should take 2 to 4 inhalations every 20 minutes as needed, up to 3 doses. And then from there, it is often recommended that they seek immediate medical attention if their symptoms are improving. And this just highlights why it's so important to have an asthma plan with your patients and what they're supposed to do if they experience an asthma attack or exacerbation of their symptoms, what they do with their inhaler, how to properly use it, and when they need to seek immediate medical attention. And then if they're doing the fast-acting beta agonist with the inhaled corticosteroid, it's recommended to take 2 inhalations every 20 minutes for a total of 3 doses. And then again, same thing, if it's not improving, by that point, they absolutely should be seeing medical attention. And again, so important that they have a plan in place and they know what to do in these circumstances if this happens to them. But you heard the difference there. For albuterol, it's 2 to 4 inhalations every 20 minutes with a max of 3 doses. And with the combination inhaler, it's 2 inhalations every 20 minutes as needed for a max of 3 doses. And then finally, the last treatment that I want to talk about with you guys is going to be how we manage gastroesophageal reflux disease or GERD. And there are 2 major medication classes that you need to be familiar with. So there are the histamine 2 receptor agonists, often referred to as H2 blockers, and then the proton pump inhibitors or PPIs. So for patients that have GERD, but it's mild and intermittent, so this is classified as less than 2 episodes per week, and they don't have any evidence of esophagitis, then we start them on the H2 blockers, and we can start them at a low dose of that. So a very common used medication would be like famotidine, also known as Pepcid, and we can start them at 10 milligrams once a day. And then we can even titrate that up to max of 20 milligrams twice a day. So we start lower there, and we can adjust up higher with the H2 blockers, and we can even encourage them to take it with antacids, so like Tums, to help with their symptoms. Now, say that they're using the max dose of the H2 blockers. They're doing the 20 milligrams twice a day. They're taking Tums with it for their symptoms, and they're not seeing relief. Then we would move up to the proton pump inhibitors. A very common example would be omeprazole or Prilosec. Now, a circumstance where a proton pump inhibitor would be first line would be if they have severe symptoms. So this is defined as 2 or more episodes per week, or if they have severe esophagitis or a Barrett's esophagus. In that circumstance, with Barrett's esophagus, they take these proton pump inhibitors indefinitely. That is taken for the rest of their life. In comparison to the typical regimen, like with GERD, where they would take these proton pump inhibitors for 8 weeks and then taper and discontinue those medications. But all right, that is going to complete today's video. Hopefully short and sweet, and just give you some hot points that you need to know when you go to take your boards. Remember, if you are going to take your boards and you're prepping for the exam, definitely check out my course. Everything will be linked in the description box below. Also, don't forget, I have a new guidebook out for you. I think you will find extremely helpful, and I'm really excited to share with you guys. I love being part of your journey. I always say that, but I truly mean it. I love being a part of my fellow nurse practitioners, students, licensed NPs, being part of their journey. It honestly brings me so much joy. So thank you for being here, and thank you for trusting me as a resource. Otherwise, as always, I wish you guys nothing but the best. Don't forget to learn something new every day, and I will talk to you guys soon. Bye, guys.
I've climbed the mountains in Montana, danced in the lights of New Orleans. Portland ran away with me, and San Francisco stayed with me. Nashville made its way in between. Fell in love in Minnesota, fell apart south of Salt